on the ESPN app. The Rich Eisen Show.
Kenny in Washington, D.C. What's up, Kenny?
Patullo, he would have had his credentials snatched as soon as the clock hit 000, and I would have mailed him all his things, man. Missy Elliott, he got to go. I mean, Jake Elliott, you know what I'm saying?
Missy Elliott. What a nickname for a kicker that's got some accuracy issues.
And A.J. Brown, I love him, but just like a beautiful woman, sometimes the talent ain't worth the drama that he brings. So we're going to have to figure it out.
The Rich Eisen Show from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
Live on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
This Game's Interrupted is brought to you by Circa Sportsbook Kentucky. Just a 30-minute drive from Nashville in Franklin, Kentucky. This is Nick Frazier. Top free agent head coach John Harbaugh is waiting to sign the dotted line to become the next head coach of the New York Giants. The Giants are finalizing the deal as the contract numbers are still being negotiated. As for the Tennessee Titans, the coaching search continues. They plan to interview Brian Daboll Friday, along with Mike McCarthy on Saturday, and to round out the weekend on Sunday with Robert Saleh and Jonathan Gannon. Yesterday, Oregon quarterback Dante Moore made an announcement. He is returning to Eugene next season. Transfer quarterback Dylan Raiola is expected to sit behind Moore next season as the backup. And tune into 94.9 The Fan at 5:15 this evening as our very own Jake Lyman has the call for Vandy women's basketball as they take on Mississippi State and Starkville right here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is, for the moment, a beautiful Thursday in Nashville. Now, it's a little cold. Let me do this. 31 degrees at the moment. 70% chance of rain tomorrow. You may be wondering about the coat and tie, and I know Kelly is. I was in Clarksville earlier today. I attended the funeral of former Austin P basketball coach Dave Luce's wife, Phyllis. A terrific eulogy by one of her sons. And let me bring Kelly in here. Kelly Holcomb, former NFL quarterback, joins us from Murfreesboro. Kelly, it can now be told it was a little more than 35 years ago that Dave Luce got hired at Austin P. And he and I had a connection from our Memphis State days, and I was one of the people that went to bat for him with the athletic director at Austin P. So it gets down to the final week before they end up hiring, because this is in early summer, and I think it was 1989. It's down to Dave Luce and a guy named Orlando Tubby Smith.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
I have conjured in my mind that this guy, Tubby Smith, weighs 400 pounds. Now, I've told Tubby all of this since. I actually apologized to him. I said, I built up some hatred for you, and I hadn't even met you. And then I find out you're a wonderful human being. We had a good laugh over it. But Phyllis, about a week before Austin P names her husband, calls me. She knows I've been involved in this, and she goes, I can't take this any longer. And I said, Phyllis, you don't have any choice.
Yeah, Austin P was a juggernaut back in the day, man. Good gracious. They had some really good basketball teams.
He was a terrific Hall of Fame kind of hire. And, one of her sons earlier today got up and talked about Phyllis would sit about 6 feet behind their bench. And her son said she didn't know anything about basketball. And if she heard somebody in the crowd yelling 3 seconds, that from then on it was 3 seconds, ref, 3 seconds. And at one point, he said that in one of these deals that Dave turned around to her and said, we have the ball.
I bet she was
So-
protective of her husband, though.
Oh, absolutely. She was a wonderful lady, a wonderful tribute send-off today from Clarksville, and I'm glad I was able to be there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's you have to do that stuff a lot. Did you speak? You didn't speak, did you, George?
No.
Yeah. Well, you've had to do that before. I've had to do that before, man. That kind of sucks sometimes when you have to speak at a funeral, man. The person that passed away means so much to you, and it's it's gut wrenching. It's hard, but sometimes you have to do things like that.
You know, Kelly, I've done 4 of them, and the one that I believed I would crack was Coach Newton, and that did not end up being the case because I got told an absolutely hilarious story about Coach Newton before I went up. Coach Newton used to yap about how they used to have a Christmas tournament at Vandy. This was in the mid-'80s, let's say. And he used to babble about blind draw. And Tony Neely, his sports information director, said it a lot more kindly than I would have. Just said, I don't think there's a blind draw. And Coach Newton was great at filing that kind of stuff away. And he calls Tony in about a month later, and he has a cup with like 3 pieces of paper in it. And he's going to pick out, in the blind draw who they play. And he picks out a name of a school, and he doesn't like it. And he says, I don't think so. They pick again. Anyway, the 3rd one was Columbia University. And apparently Coach Newton goes, Columbia University, that will be our opponent. And then he turns to Tony. He goes, any questions about our blind draw?
Nice. That's right.
Oh, I love that.
Good stuff.
It really helped me because, I would have bet all the tea in China that I would have lost it at that one. But that story really helped me.
Nice. That's cool, man. That's cool. You thought a lot of him. You've talked a lot about him, man. That's awesome.
He's, I've always called him the finest man I ever met in athletics, and that will never change.
Yep.
Do we have an update in store?
We sure do.
Do we now? That's Parker Kelly.
Is it a good? Is it a good one, Parker?
One of the
I know
better
you're going to
ones
say
that
it's a
I've
good
prepared.
one, but is it a good one?
Yeah.
You seem to have gotten off this kick about how America lives for this update, which was a total line of crap.
Yeah, I haven't said that in a while.
Yeah, that's
you think
good.
it's time?
No, I think you should. I think you should stay away from
Well,
that.
in honor of George,
Mhm.
America's favorite update's back,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. And I'm here to tell you that we have a loaded show today
Mhm.
because at 3:20, the general manager of Nebraska men's basketball, Luca Virgilio, will be joining us. Big time interview.
Nice.
As the Huskers
Nice.
are 17-0, they are one of 3 undefeated teams in Division I men's college basketball. Pretty good stuff.
Nice.
Yep.
Tune in at 3:20. And don't forget that we'll be back at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall on Monday night for the national championship between Indiana and Miami. Gentlemen, over the night, the news broke that John Harbaugh is finalizing a deal with the New York Giants. 5 years, $100 million per Jordan Schultz. So the Titans proceeded to cancel their in-home visit with John Harbaugh, and that will not be happening.
No, I don't think they canceled it. I think he canceled it.
Yeah.
Let's. I mean, we want the
It was
update,
canceled.
even if it's full of bull. At least be accurate.
So yeah, that's the T.
That is the T.
No reaction, George?
No.
Oh gosh.
Move on.
You guys are tough to work with.
Move on.
I told you yesterday it was dreams of grandeur. I mean, I really felt that. I just.
You were right.
I just.
Yeah, but
I don't.
People, I had the people who I thought would say something nice about Nashville. The
Yeah,
one
but the New York Giants are in such a they're they're not bad. They're not very good, and the Titans are not very good too. But that's a huge market up there. I thought maybe since he'd been in Baltimore for all those years, he had been a special teams coach in Philly, I thought he might have wanted to get away from all the pressure. But now he's back in the juggernaut again.
So he's got Jackson Dart,
Yep,
Cam Scattaboo, Neighbors, the very talented wide receiver.
Malik Neighbors. Yep.
Yeah. Abdul Carter,
Brian
Burns. So he's got a better nucleus there than the Titans do.
A young nucleus at that.
Yeah, the Titans can say we've got Cam Ward and we have Jeffrey Simmons and we have a new stadium.
And we got an all-pro returner, baby. Number 10, Vanderbilt. They suffered their first loss of the season last night in Austin. They lost to Texas 80-64.
So we will ask the college basketball insiders today at 4:00. Was it simply that Texas played really well? They got a big kid in the middle that causes all kinds of problems. And then the kid Marks couldn't miss. But what kind of stuff happened last night that other teams will go to town on when they play Vandy? Be interesting to see what their answers are.
By the way, Kelly, because I know you were wondering, there were 3 buzzer beaters in college basketball last night. Kentucky had a Christian Laettner type buzzer beater to beat LSU on the road. Ole Miss, they beat Georgia in Athens on a buzzer beater. And SMU hit a half court to beat Virginia Tech. The guy who hit it, Boopy Williams.
Boopy? So I saw the Kentucky LSU one, and it's a Christian Laettner kind of play. This time it benefits Kentucky. But if you're LSU, you're sitting there saying, how did you let that ball get over you? You can't let that happen. But they did. And they
sometimes things like that happen, George, you know. Crazy stuff happens.
Yep. Yeah.
Did I say Boopy? I'm sorry. It's Boopy Miller. Boopy Miller is the guy for SMU who hit the half court versus Virginia Tech last night. All right. A couple more things. I don't know how I didn't mention this yesterday, but college football is going to have this new redshirt rule where now instead of 4 games, players are going to get 9 games. So basically they get to play 3/4 of the year. Yep.
It's a freebie. It's absurd.
Absurd.
That is absurd. That's crazy right there.
So now,
wow. So now you can use a kid, and if you're not in it, then he can just, hey, you need to sit out. We're going to redshirt you.
Who put that rule together?
Don't quote me on this. I believe it was at the AFCA convention. There were a lot of coaches there, and they thought they were going to discuss the calendar, but they ended up discussing this redshirt rule instead.
One word. Dumb.
Wow. That just falls in line with everything else in the NCAA.
And then we're getting some rule changes in college basketball, and this one is actually a pretty good one. The transfer portal window is going to open up after men's and women's respective national championship games instead of opening during March Madness.
Okay.
Pretty good rule there.
Gee, that took
I like it.
A Rhodes Scholar to figure that out.
Long enough, didn't it?
Good Lord.
And
what are we doing?
Washington, the Commanders, they're getting a new stadium. For those watching via podcast, here's what it is going to look like. It looks like a monument.
Yeah, it'll look a lot better when Jaden Daniels is healthy.
Or when he stops running around and he can stay healthy.
Yeah. Well, if it's anything like our new stadium, Commanders fans get ready to get screwed over.
Wow. Hey, George, we're trying to keep a positive tone on the show today.
They sent me a season ticket renewal where they have gone up like $100 and some odd for next year. Is that because they got to 3 victories? Have you all looked at your product? You haven't earned that increase. Cool it.
George, I've told you before, they do not care. They know
No,
that
they don't
people
give
are
a damn.
going to pay for it. They're going to pay
Well,
for it.
somebody is. Mostly visitors.
Well, somebody will.
Yeah.
Two more things. Adam Thielen has retired from the NFL.
That was very
a couple days
expected.
ago.
Yeah.
But it was a good run. And I'm going to try to find this real quick. Here it is. Michigan has hired a new president because remember when we were talking about the Sharon Moore situation, they had an interim president. Well, now they have a full-time president, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because he's come over from Syracuse. And what's interesting about this is he's been one of the loudest and most public proponents of private equity, which the Big Ten is trying to get their member schools to buy into. The only two schools that are against it right now are Michigan, who just hired this guy, and USC.
And so he will be the one ultimately to decide on Ward Manuel.
I guess.
I would say.
Do presidents
I would
decide?
say so.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
Me? Out.
He gone?
Gone. Would have been
pretty
gone
harsh, George.
way before now. A lot of
Man,
hanky-panky at Michigan.
I don't know, man. A slap on the wrist. I can see that coming.
I would hire Connor Stallions as athletic director. Let him put on one of those disguises, come in a Central Michigan sweatshirt.
I don't know if you guys saw the tweet about the national championship tickets in Miami and how, it's like $4,000 to get in. And someone had asked if the tickets were going to go down by the time the game was actually played. And Connor Stallions replied, as someone who's an expert in this market, they're not.
Oh, wow.
That's funny.
Okay. So your update is done.
Yep.
That's all right.
No. It was great, George.
It was all right. It wasn't America's favorite update today.
No.
It was all right.
No, America is bored. Okay. After the break, we're going to go out to Nebraska. What has happened out there? They are the other school besides Vandy that nobody would have thought would be in this position, but they are. They're 17-0. And supposedly in football, the N stands for knowledge. Do you like that?
That's where you laugh.
Come on,
Kelly.
George.
Yeah.
Come
Took you
on,
a while,
George. That was Parker's. That was one of Parker's.
No, don't put that on me, Kelly. No.
They have the N on the helmet. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll get this show on the road in just a moment. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
You know, here are a couple of things that I know about Nebraska basketball. We're going to go out to Lincoln in hopefully a minute or two and learn more about why they are 17-0 and one of the real surprises in college basketball. Kelly, if you look through their last 5 years, it's fairly similar to a Vandy kind of resume. 10-22, 16-16, 23-11, 21-14, and now this big jump to 17-0. Their coach is Fred Hoiberg, who was once a teammate of Will Purdue's with the Chicago Bulls, and Will Purdue is Hoiberg's biggest fan. Says he's a terrific teacher of basketball, a terrific coach. The other thing I had noticed over the last 3 years, they've got a fairly new arena that's probably about 5 years old now, Pinnacle Bank Arena. And that record would not suggest that you would have tight sellouts. But, Kelly, they have.
It's, and I can't wait to ask him this question, but it's one of these deals where we've been talking about it, and the NIL, is this kind of the situation, George, that's going to happen every year with a team that is really not known for a certain sport, but with their NIL, they've got some money and they've got some kids in there because Nebraska's got a lot of money. I mean, I can remember going out there playing football, and we played when they were number one in the nation, and Tom Osborne was there, and it was funny because we stayed out on the field, or they stayed out on the field a little longer than Coach Donnelly thought they should, and Tom Osborne said, yeah, we got to get ready for Colorado next week. So, I mean, they weren't even worried about us, which is understandable. I mean, they ended up beating us 49-7, but they've got money out there, and I'm just wondering, like, is this going to be a new normal? Like we talked to Mike yesterday about the new normal in high school football, and with all these blowouts that we had in the state championship game, but is there going to be a team like a Nebraska who's not known for basketball? They're known for their women's volleyball and for football out there, which football's a long way from where it used to be with Tom Osborne, but they've made an ascension this year with a guy that is a really good coach, Fred Hoiberg, who was at Iowa State, and like you said, he was Will Purdue's guy with the Bulls. But, like, it's kind of amazing that you see a Nebraska or these teams that just come out of the middle of nowhere who's not known for what they're doing, and it's pretty incredible.
The other thing that's happened out there, and I don't pretend to know how or why, they've become one of the 5 biggest powers in volleyball. You know, they want their football to be the cat daddy. They've sold out 18 million games in that 90,000 seat stadium, but it's all of a sudden basketball and women's volleyball that have taken off. They had a 90,000 plus crowd a couple of years ago for a volleyball game.
They love their volleyball out there.
I wonder what kind of vantage point you'd have high up in that upper deck.
I wouldn't think it'd be very good, man. But we all saw, and I remember we had the pictures up, George, a couple of years ago when they did that, and it was pretty amazing. And you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm sure everybody in Lincoln, Nebraska is a Nebraska fan. I can remember going out there, but they support their teams. The community gets behind Nebraska. There's no question. And like I said, I think they would have money. And it's just interesting that nobody's ever heard of Nebraska for college basketball. They've always supported a team, obviously, but like what they're doing right now with Hoiberg and them being 17-0, and you're looking at some of the roster guys and some of the guys that are playing now, and it's just you can make a team just like the St. Louis Rams did a long time ago when Kurt Warner became the quarterback and nobody knew who that was, and they went to the Super Bowl and they won it. It just happens overnight, and it's pretty incredible.
You know, it's interesting when you look now over – I'm going to go a little farther with this, over about a 10-year period. It's pretty similar to Vandy. They have a 2-year stretch of 7-20, 7-25. We'll call that the Jerry Stackhouse stench. Before that, their victory totals are 19-17, 22-11, 12-19, 16-18, 13-18. So Vandy basketball, that'll get you back more to a Kevin Stallings era, but there are some similarities between the two programs. Their general manager, and I hope I say his name right, and if I butcher it, hopefully he'll kind of straighten me out. Luca Virgilio. I say that right, you think?
So. Believe
okay.
So.
Let's bring him up from Lincoln, Nebraska. Luca, how you doing?
I'm doing great. And congratulations on the pronunciation. That was pretty good.
Thank you. I practiced it. I worked on it a little bit. So when people look, thanks. When people look at the top 10 in college basketball, you know, Vandy was up there. They might not be after last night. That's a surprise to people. You guys are a big surprise to people. So the simple question, how has this happened?
Well, it's not something that happens overnight, as you can imagine. You know, this has been a process that we've been working on for quite a long time, and now everybody's seeing the results. But this is something that comes from the mind of one of the best coaches in college basketball, Fred Hoiberg, and his ability to play such a fun style offensively and defensively. And you combine that with a very experienced and old team that has been together for quite a long time. A lot of the guys on our roster have been in this program for 2-3 years, and that's not very common anymore in college basketball. So the combination of those two things is going to give you a very good basketball team, and that's what we are today.
So I was talking before you came on. Fred Hoiberg was teammates with my buddy Will Perdue when they were both members of the Chicago Bulls, and Will has raved about Fred Hoiberg as a teacher of basketball. Talk to me about what his strengths are as you see them.
Well, Fred is a phenomenal teacher, and if you are willing to listen, he's going to change your entire basketball career and your life. And that's why, you know, we might not have the best athletes, we might not have the best players, but because they're willing to listen and learn from coach's wisdom, that's why everything is translating from his mind to the floor with our players executing his vision. And that's what makes him special. He's one of the best guys I've ever met in this business, and is one of a kind. And I'm very lucky to be working for him, and Nebraska is really lucky to have him as their basketball head coach.
As you know, Nebraska is just flat out a football school. But over the last 5 years, when I've watched games at your place, Pinnacle Bank Arena, I've been amazed at the support, even when you weren't 17-0. Talk to me about that.
Well, the fan support here is phenomenal. You know, I was born and raised in Italy, and I worked for 5 years at St. John's in New York, and I didn't know a lot about Nebraska basketball when I got my first phone call with Coach Hoiberg about coming and moving here. And, you know, the first time we played at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and it was sold out for our first game, I was amazed. And, you know, like you said, the first couple of years we were not great, but our fans were there to support us even during tough seasons. And now that we're, you know, one of the best teams in the nation, we have, I think, 8 or 7 home games left, and they're all sold out. You cannot find a ticket, and the tickets on the secondary market are going for crazy amount of money. And our fans are just so loud. We played Michigan State about 10 days ago, and, you know, Michigan State had a chance to tie the game with pretty much 0.2 seconds on the clock, had 2 free throws. And I had no doubts in my mind that they were about to miss those free throws because our arena was so loud that there was no chance he was making those free throws. Our fans are the best. Our student section is phenomenal. It's really, really helpful for us and for our guys to know that when we're going to play a home game, we're going to have 15,000 people that are going to push us, and they're going to make sure that they give the best environment possible for us to win the game.
So, Luca, what is this doing for you all as far as kids who are looking at this going, ooh, Nebraska, maybe I want to go there?
Yeah, we're definitely a destination now, you know, and we're very selective in how we approach recruiting. We want to make sure we find the right fit on and off the floor. Somebody that comes and plays for Nebraska represents the state of Nebraska, and we're really proud about that. And also we need to make sure they share the same vision. And that's why we've been successful this year. We had pretty transparent conversations in the offseason with our players, the ones that were returning and the new ones coming in, or what their role was going to be. And Coach Hoiberg is extremely transparent and direct on his vision. And if you follow his directions, you're going to be successful. And every single player on our roster has been buying into whatever their role is, and they've been superstars. And that's why we've been successful. And that's why players out there that want to come and join us are going to be even more attracted to come and play for Nebraska.
Kelly?
Luca, hey, I've got a question. You know, obviously being a and George said it, a football school, and with the new NIL that's come about, are we going to see this more in college sports about certain teams like Nebraska? You really never have thought about Nebraska as being a basketball team. We've always thought about, I actually played Nebraska a long time ago when I was in FCS school way back in the early 90s. We played Nebraska when Tom Osborne was there, but everybody thinks of them as a football school. But, you know, with the NIL and with money, because Nebraska's got a lot of money, are we going to start seeing this? Is this kind of a new normal for college sports where a team that's really not known for, say, a Nebraska at basketball, it can happen because you get some NIL money and you get the right people involved and you get the right kids?
I don't know if he's necessarily connected to NIL, to be honest with you. I think our case, and, you know, you guys were talking about Vandy, is very similar too. I don't think it's necessarily connected to money. I think it's more about having a vision for this program and putting the right people in the right places. I think that really helps more than anything else. And also building a culture that you believe in more than anything else. You know, in the past, it was a lot about just accumulating talent, but sometimes that's not going to equate to wins. And I think building a strong culture and a strong foundation is going to be what is going to get you over the top, not necessarily related to NIL money. But one thing that I can tell you about our place is that the resources that we have when it comes to like facilities and nutrition and sport psychologists and academics, like we're the best in college basketball, in my opinion, one of the best in the nation, just because of all the resources that our guys have. And that's why we have such a high retention rate for the players that come here and they don't want to leave. It's not because we pay them more than other schools? Actually, no. But it's more about what we can offer from a resources standpoint, and they can see a value in staying and sticking around because they're going to get better on the floor and off the floor.
Okay, so I'm a good old country boy from Tennessee, man, and I got to know this. I hope this is not the dumbest question ever, but when I was growing up, obviously in the early the 80s and the early 90s, I mean the coach was the guy, and we know Fred Hoiberg is the guy, but I want to know what general manager means, man. What is your job description? What does the general manager have to do? I know you have to, there's a lot of things that are going on, but what does general manager mean?
Well, you have to see that way, in a way that, college basketball and college athletics overall is going through a pretty big transformation because of NIL and revenue sharing. And because of that, you're going to see a real front office that are going to start, working in college basketball. And like you have a front office in the NBA, you got to have a front office in college basketball too, because you need to have people that are going to be focusing only on roster management. Because you have 15 spots and you got to maximize those 15 spots in the best possible way. And that means that you got to follow what's going on in the high school world. You got to have to follow what's going on in the transfer portal, and you got to have to see what's going on internationally, because there is a huge wave of international players who want to come and play in college basketball. So you need to have somebody who's the point person to do that, in addition to keeping the relationships with agents, because agents play a big role in today's landscape. And at the same time, just seeing what other schools are doing, and now the rev share model is applying at different schools, and making sure that we're maximizing the resources that we have. And you want to have coaches focusing on coaching, and you want to have front office people making sure they can maximize the resources that are available, so that coach can put on the floor a good product and a winning product.
So my last question here is, us being in the South, obviously everybody follows the SEC and SEC basketball and whatever the SEC's playing, and schools around here, Conference USA and things like that. But give us a little bit about your team. I mean, I was looking on some stuff with your roster and some of your stats, but give us a little bit about your team. And obviously we've talked about Fred Hoiberg bringing that stuff together, which I think it's hard nowadays because your roster changes so much, and it's kind of like a professional sport now, and it's getting paid like a professional sport. But tell us a little bit about your team and why you guys are 17-0 right now.
Well, we're 17-0 because we return a lot of guys that have been in our program for a long time. Sam Hoiberg, his coach's son, has been in our program for 5 years. Jamarcus Lawrence, this is going to be year 3. Braden Frager is a freshman, but he redshirted for us, so this is his 2nd year. Berke Butenschel has been in our program for 2 years. Rink Mast, our starting 5-man, has been in our program for 3 years. And we have other younger guys. Cale Jacobson has been in our program for a long time. That's really an outlier in today's environment, because a lot of schools start from scratch every year. And because of the way that we do things and all these guys sticking around, we were able to start the season in a very positive way because of the familiarity with the system and the familiarity with each other. The only player that plays relevant minutes that is a first-year guy is Bryce Sanford, who we recruited out of high school, and he played in the Big Ten or conference for 2 years. So that was a very easy transition for him. And more than that, we play very connected. We're a very connected team offensively and defensively. We have a top 15 defense in the country and a top 30 offense. We play with a lot of pace, and we share the ball at a high level. And we don't have, our offense is very fun because we play in space, we play with pace. And every game is somebody's different that is going to hit shots. I think we had 6 different leading scorers in the last 7 games. So it's really hard to prep against us because you never know who's going to go and be hot that night. And that's really a plus for us.
Luca, kind of take me through the last 2 years, because 2 years ago, you guys made the NCAA tournament but lost in the opening round to Texas A&M. Last year, you win the Crown Invitational. Do you believe that those last 2 years have kind of been building you up to this point and springboarding you into this season?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I got no doubts in my mind. 2 years ago, we went into the season with the goal to make the NCAA tournament and play in March, and we did it. Unfortunately, we didn't get a great matchup with Texas A&M just because of their physicality and athleticism. And with that particular team, we always struggle against teams like that. Last year, unfortunately, the biggest problem that we had in the offseason was losing Rink Mast for the entire year. So Rink Mast was one of the most important players for us 2 years ago, and we didn't have him this past season. But we were able, with guys like Juwan Getty and Bryce Williams, to win the crown. And, we were 17-14, and we had a disappointing end of the season, losing 5 consecutive games. We were a bubble team, and I thought we had a legit chance to make the tournament back-to-back years. But unfortunately, things didn't work out at the end, and we lost 5 straight games. But I give our team a lot of credit because we went into Vegas and we won the crown tournament, and that gave us a lot of momentum going into this year. From a recruiting standpoint, especially, we were able to recruit a bunch of guys where we were in Vegas because of the way we were playing and because people were watching our games. And, you combine those 2 seasons into what we're seeing right now. And I think, of course, like you said, that really helped having the start of the season that we're having so far, being 17-0. It's all great, but we haven't really done anything yet. We need to win games in March, and that's the goal.
And I'm sure you've heard this stat that Nebraska is the only major power program to not win a game in the NCAA tournament. And I don't mean to pile on, but what gives you confidence about this team this year that you guys can not only win a game, but make a run?
Yeah, we know about it. Everybody knows about Nebraska being the only Power 5 that hasn't won a game in the tournament. And it's okay. We're here to try to change that. And I feel like this team has been handling the pressure and the expectations the right way. They're showing up to work every day, and they've been very consistent with that. And we got to control what we can control. And they've been doing that since the first day of the season. They've been approaching every game the right way. And we're going to focus on Northwestern on Saturday on the road. Very important game for us. But we cannot skip steps. We have 14 more games to go in the Big Ten, and we got to approach each one of them the same way. Then we got the Big Ten tournament, and then we got Selection Sunday. And we're going to focus on each one of the games that we have ahead of us one at a time. And hopefully we're going to get in a good place when we have to play in the postseason, and we're going to be ready for the challenge to make history.
Hey, Luca, before we let you go, and we really appreciate the time, I've always wondered this because I don't know the answer. Who pinned the nickname the Mayor on Fred Hoiberg?
Well, you know what? I might be wrong about this, but I think when he was in high school, somebody put down his name when they were voting for the mayor in Ames, and that's how it started. Don't quote me on that because I might be wrong, but I think I've heard that story before.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's good stuff. Hey, first of all, thank you for taking the time. Secondly, you all are going to knock down that door, and you are going to get that NCAA win in March and get that one off your back. We're going to be watching very closely from Nashville, and thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much for having me, guys, and thank you for your support. Have a good day.
Luca Virgilio. He's the general manager of University of Nebraska Cornhusker basketball. They are 17-0. And if you say, I saw that coming, you're a liar.
You're a liar. You're a liar. Straight up.
You're absolutely lying. But pay attention to them because something really good is happening. He mentioned Hoiberg's kid plays for him. I knew that. That's an interesting dynamic, Kelly, because think about it. That can go one of two ways. If the kid isn't any good, but he starts getting playing time because he's the coach's son.
It's awful, George. Yeah, you got to know as a coach, and you got to be realistic with your son. If you're not very good, I'm not playing you. I mean, that's just the way you got to be. And if you are, you've got to make everything, because I'm not going to show you preferential treatment. Sometimes coaches are harder on their kids than they are anybody else, and it's a fine line, because I coach mine in high school. It's obviously not in college, but it's
Not
different,
easy.
and you have to learn how to do that, because when you have a bad day and then you yell at your son, well, he's going to go home and tell mom, and then we're going to have it's a constant battle, man.
And then mom doesn't speak to the coach for 2 weeks.
Correct. That is
I've heard how that
we
works.
know how that goes. Well, Sam Hoiberg, if you look, he's one of those guys that Luca was talking about. Has been there for 4 years,
Yeah.
and his minutes have slowly started to increase. He started with averaging 12 minutes a game, and he's worked his way up to 29.
Yeah, which means he may have gone to mom and said, listen, I need you to lobby a little bit.
Averaging
Happy
8.2
wife.
points a game.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yes. After the break, a few more thoughts on the John Harbaugh decision and what does that mean for the Tennessee Titans. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville. Only in Smashville.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us, because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Very glad to have them.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive, and tell them Plaz sent you. To replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive, and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
That is definitely not the Elvin Bishop part of I fooled around and fell in love, which the Giants did over the last couple of days, and they may have hit pay dirt with John Harbaugh. It appears that's the case. So, Kelly, let's take it to the Titans for a second. I haven't asked you this. Of this long laundry list of people that they're interviewing, is there one for you that you're saying, based on what you know, this is the guy I want?
I don't truly think there is, George. I think Harbaugh was on your wish list, but just like I said yesterday, I thought that was kind of a pipe dream. I like he was going in there commanding $20 million a year, and obviously the New York Giants gave that to him. I don't know if when you start talking that, I don't know if you think the Titans would have done that?
Well, they were going to fly to visit him in his home. That tells me that they were, pretty serious at least.
Well, would they have given him that? Were they just wanting to listen to him, or would they have given him that? Would they have been on his demands about $20 million a year? Because obviously the Giants have hook, line, and sinker bought into John Harbaugh. They're a proud organization. They've won Super Bowls. They've had some good coaches there, but here in the last decade or so, they haven't been good. So, I just don't know. I don't know if there's a guy, George. I really don't. I think, I said yesterday, I think you have to have a guy that's been an established guy in this league. I don't think you can keep going after the Brian Callahans and the guys like that. I mean, Vrabel was an established guy, but he was from an organization with the New England Patriots that he had been around winning and winning big and winning for a long time, and that rubs off on you, especially if you're paying attention as a player. Now, that's my problem. I never paid attention. I didn't want to go to meetings like, give us the game plan and shut up. I didn't listen to all that stuff. Vrabel obviously did, and he was a good fit here, and that didn't work out here. But I just think that they've got to get somebody established. I know that there's people that don't like Mike McCarthy, but he is an established guy, and he's been there. He's done that. I don't know if that's what that calls for, and I don't know if the Tennessee Titans would do it. I'm just not sure about Matt Nagy, because I think this puts him back at the forefront again because of his relationship with Mike Morganzi. I don't know. I might be fishing in the wrong pond. I don't know that. But I just think that they need to get somebody that has been there, that has done that, and I don't know how many of those guys are out there.
So under the question of, okay, would she pay that kind of money? Look, I don't pretend to know what the hell goes on in her mind.
Right.
I think in the last couple of years, she's come off looking like somebody who doesn't have a clue how to be an NFL owner. Her father, his background was that he was not afraid, if he thought somebody was worth it, to shell out big bucks. But people who worked for him also said that he wanted to know why the paper clips cost whatever it was they cost. he was a little bit of both ways with it all.
Right.
Here's the one though right now that hadn't gotten solved, and it was interesting this morning to hear Adam Schefter say that Green Bay and Matt LaFleur appear to have differences on money and length of contract, which leads me back to what I've thought all along, which is Green Bay doesn't really want him, and my guess is LaFleur is figuring that out.
I think you're onto something, George, that I thought it when you first said it. I had never thought about that, but that's how they do stuff in that business. I mean, they're going to lowball you, and then, if you accept it, they're in trouble. But if you don't accept it, which I don't think Matt LaFleur would accept that, because he's done a lot of winning there. Let's be honest. I mean, he's
development of quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's not a chump when it comes to coaching. But I just don't know if Jordan Love. You've had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers for decades, and then they've been lucky and fortunate to have those guys, and now you've got Jordan Love, and I just don't know if he's that guy, and I don't know if he can get you to that level. So we know this is a quarterback-driven league, and I think he's a good player, and I think he needs more time, but I think they are trying to do that to Matt LaFleur, and it's going to be interesting to see, because he was obviously here, and if things don't work out there, that's the guy I would definitely go after.
Yes.
Do you think this is the prove it year for Matt LaFleur? I know he's got 1 year left on his contract, but do you think this is the prove it? Because when they got Micah Parsons, all the talking heads were talking about how the Packers were going to be Super Bowl contenders. Then he gets hurt. They lose in the wild card round to the Bears. So do you think this is the prove it year, the year that they have to get over that hump?
See, if that's the vibe that they're putting out there, that you've got to prove it, I'd tell them to take their prove it and shove it.
That's right, because I've
this
already
guy
proved
has won at a really high level. Yeah, they've had some issues. They've had some games get away late where he may need to get in his foxhole and rethink some of his strategies. But Green Bay better be careful for what they wish for. Life hadn't been all bad under Matt LaFleur.
Titans would kill for that right now. Kill for
No,
that.
it hasn't. It has not, and the Green Bay Packers fans are a little bit, they're a little bit snooty because they've won and they've won that division for many years. And Aaron Rodgers, and now they're getting beat by Chicago, and Chicago is young, and Chicago's got a franchise quarterback, and they're looking things in the, right in front of their face. And you got Ben Johnson, who's kind of disrespecting. They're not used to that, and I don't know how it's going to go, man, but if he does get let go and he does not accept that, shoot, I'd be all over Matt LaFleur.
Because think about how the NFC North has kind of changed. It used to be the Packers running it, and they still may, but the Lions have been good the last 3 years. They may get things turned around and be right back where they were 2 years ago. Next season, the Bears seem to be doing this. I don't know about the Vikings because we don't know about J.J. McCarthy yet. But if he turns out to be good, then they'll be right up there at the top. So it's really anybody's game.
Couple of things worth noting right now. So Mike Tomlin is out there, acts like TV is the deal. I do wonder if anybody has called him and said, "Are you serious? You're sitting out?" There is a story in The Athletic about what his final meeting with the team was like. And I'll tell you, it makes me think even more of Tomlin. He basically, at the end, stands at the door and hugged every last person, many of whom in the room were in tears, including, of all people, Aaron Rodgers was in tears.
I mean, I'm telling you, they for 1 year, I don't know what it was, but they hit it off. I think that's what, and I heard Terry Bradshaw talking about in an interview that he didn't really think Mike Tomlin was all this and that. But I tell you what I think he does, and he stayed there for so long, is relationship-wise, that guy understands the game is about people, and he makes people feel good, and he encourages guys, and he's rough on them, he's tough on them, but I think he understands that people that's what the game is about. It's about people, managing people and getting people and putting them in positions to be successful. And I really think that's why Aaron Rodgers, he went to Pittsburgh, he got a relationship with him, and I think if Mike Tomlin stays, I think he stays for another year. I really do.
I'm going to give you a prediction. This will be another in a series that probably don't work out. The next Steelers coach will be Brian Flores, defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
We're out of here for hour number one. The college basketball insiders are next on the George Plaster Show.
Get ready for the big game with Electronic Express, your local source for big screen TVs for over 40 years. Shop now and get a Samsung 65-inch 4K smart TV for just $329, an LG 75-inch 4K smart TV for only $449, or go all out with a massive 98-inch 4K smart TV for just $999. Shopping local has perks too, like free delivery, available installation, and up to 24 months interest-free financing. Shop in-store or at electronicexpress.com.
Welcome to Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel, where every dish tells the story of Southern tradition and culinary excellence. Dive into our enhanced menu, featuring delights like the legendary biscuit bar and freshly revamped dishes that bring the farm straight to your fork. Perfect for a leisurely breakfast or a hearty lunch. We're open every day, ready to treat you to a meal that feels like home. Experience the refreshed feel at Kitchen Notes inside the Omni Nashville Hotel, where every bite is a note in Nashville's symphony of flavors.
Ponce Law is the only injury law firm with the Crash Cam Network, capturing accident footage on highways across Middle Tennessee. Injured in an accident? Call Ponce Law. We offer a no-fee guarantee, and for over 30 years, we've been helping injured people just like you. We've been voted best law firm multiple times. I'm Michael Ponce. If you've been injured, call us today at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all.
When pro football's biggest game kicks off, Kentucky's biggest watch party is on. The Big Game Bash at Circa Sports, the largest sports book in Kentucky. Experience a 2-story sports betting and viewing experience with stadium-style seating, massive screens, great eats and drinks, and live game sound that puts you right in the action. The Big Game Bash at Circa Sports, located inside the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs. Book your seat today at circasports.com.
Busy Bee, yeah, Busy Bee.
Hey guys, Big Joe here for my friends over at Busy Bee. Listen, new year, new friends. Buy one Beehive membership and give one Beehive membership for free to a friend in Middle Tennessee. Look, I am a Beehive member and I would love for you to be one too. Yeah, Beehive membership only for my friends at Busy Bee.
Call 775-7833.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. Brought to you by the Gambling Clinic, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis. Our forecast putting us into the low 30s this afternoon. We stay cold from start to finish. Increases in sunshine throughout the afternoon, and another cold night back down to the 20s.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429, has a path to a dignified career. Are you a skilled electrician or lineman? Tired of dead-end, low-paying jobs? Local 429 is accepting applications for highly skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org.
Here's to a big 2026 from everyone at IBEW. It's gonna be a great year.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. This year, we still have 3 undefeated teams left in college basketball. Last season, the last undefeated team fell on January 7th. Can you name that team?
Oh, gosh.
Gracious.
You know, this might be the perfect time, Kelly, to just dump it in other people's laps.
Please.
Let's do that.
Please do. I'm good with that. Let's do it.
The college basketball insiders about a minute early. Let's say hello to our buddy Lee Fowler. Lee, of course, former athletic director at MTSU, later at NC State. He was chairman of the NCAA men's basketball selection committee in 2001. But of course, most importantly, he was my color announcer for my 3-day stint in Memphis. Lee, how are you?
Good, George. You know, I'm kind of like Kirk Signetti, that I learned more in that year with you on the radio than I learned in the other 40 years of college athletics.
Yeah, don't
stop.
Give us the name.
Stop it, Lee.
Do you know this? Do you know the answer to this?
I have no idea.
Okay, then let's.
I would go as far as say it's a dumb question.
That's what we always say.
I love it. Let's say hello to Nashville's foremost basketball expert, Coach Ron Bargatze. Coach B, how you doing?
Good afternoon.
So you see the question as well, don't you?
Can you name the team that was undefeated last year? Is that it?
Well, Okay, the last undefeated team a year ago fell on January the 7th. Can you name that team? Good gosh, I can't. But are we just going to take a guess?
I mean, if I guessed, I'd guess Duke.
Okay, Coach
is it
B?
Parker? Is it a blue blood?
No.
Oh. Coach B?
Darn, I only fool with blue blooders.
I'm
gonna
say St. John's.
You know what? I think you're right on that, Kelly. Show us St. John's.
I can tell you it is not St. John's.
Well, what?
Gosh, it was Tennessee.
Wow.
Really?
Is it really?
Wow.
Wow. No kidding. Okay.
Well, I take that back. That wasn't a dumb question.
Well, yeah, the person that wrote the question saying, thanks, Lee, for the love and support with the question. It was a hell of a question. Okay, so let's bring both of them up and get this show on the road. College basketball insiders.
Oh, man.
Wow, 5.
There's what
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. So, Lee, you were also in Clarksville earlier today for Phyllis Luce's funeral. Would it be fair to describe her as a pistol?
Yes, it would be fair to. She's one of the all-time great wives of a guy who's a great gentleman and very quiet. There were times, and you mentioned a couple today, that she wasn't so quiet, and that's the wife's prerogative when they're defending their coach. And but she was a great lady, and Dave Luce and his whole family are great.
Coach B, I need to get you totally into the picture there.
Yes, sir.
We all know Coach Luce, and what a wonderful human being. And our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family.
He was quite a baseball player also, George. And I agree with Lee for sure. One of the classiest guys I've ever known in college sports.
So
and I played baseball against him. He was a great baseball player.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. So, as you can imagine, there was a little past Austin Peay. There was a little past Memphis State, which brings me to Joe Lunardi's bracketology. Parker, if you will, put that up there. And Lee, you will notice that Memphis is not listed. And the Memphis contingent was certainly talking about that today. What do you think's going on there?
Well, I'd say they're not connected very well. I've seen them play a couple times on TV. Penny's struggle a little bit. They don't shoot real well, and you know what that can get you, especially when your guys like to shoot it. And I think they're 8-8. They're 3-1 in the conference, but they're going to have to really win a lot of games and almost not get any upsets to have a chance to get in the tournament.
As you know, their attendance is way down, and that may be quicker than anything can get a coach fired. But Lee, down there, the thought of firing Penny Hardaway is just a really hard one for people to swallow.
I think so, and I think that he'll fix whatever's wrong this year. Next year, he has the ability to recruit players, and they have enough money to pay the players. And I think it does hurt their program to be downtown in Memphis, and they've needed an on-campus facility or on their South Campus where their football and baseball facility is for a long time. It's just tough to go as far away. The Mid-South Coliseum back in the day was much closer, and it was almost like being on campus. It was a couple of miles away. So I think that's kind of deteriorated their program over time, and especially as fans get older, going down there, parking in close to the marina is not easy. They have a parking garage. It costs a lot of money to park in, and so it's not the greatest of situations. But I'm sure Penny will get it turned around, and in today's world, George, you fix things in a year. Used to, you had to wait 2 or 3 recruiting cycles to maybe get enough players to be able to turn around. Now they just reload and hopefully can get it turned around much quicker.
So those of you who are not watching the podcast, as of a couple of days ago, Vanderbilt was a 2 seed, Florida a 4. And by the way, those two teams play each other Saturday in Memorial Gym. Alabama's a 4. Tennessee and Arkansas are both 6s, according to Lenardi. Georgia a 7. Auburn 8. Kentucky 10. A&M, one of the last teams to get in as an 11 seed. LSU, the first 4 out at the moment. Locally, close to home, Murray State listed as a 12 seed. Austin P at a 14. UT Martin as a 15. Let me start with Coach B on this one, and then I'll work to Lee. Coach B, Vandy suffers its first loss last night. What do you think opposing teams maybe take out of that loss and say, okay, there's a chink in the armor, let's go after X? Or is there such a thing?
Well, yeah, there is. Probably a couple things. One, with Vandy getting behind last night when they did, you kind of hear the footsteps a little bit. And I thought that caused Vandy to lose their patience more than any time I've seen them play this year. So I thought they lost their patience and took some shots that were slightly forced and didn't make them. And therefore, the big guy and the lefty shooter, is his name Mays?
Marks,
yeah. The big guy, I thought, really intimidated them and made them a little gun shy. And Vandy inside depth is going to be a problem for him in the tournament.
So, Lee, what did you take out of it?
Well, having a little bit of history in the ACC and having 2 son-in-laws that call me pretty much after every North Carolina game, every time I'm with them, and I was with one of my son-in-laws last week, and we watched the North Carolina game, we watched the Vandy game. And Washington made a couple of jump shots, he said. He never played like that for us. But last night he played like he was in North Carolina again. He didn't play very well and seemed to be hurried up, and the shooters didn't shoot well. And that's the first time they really played a lot of minutes behind. So they'll have to learn you really don't take quick shots when you're behind. Just like when you're ahead, you got to make people play defense and try to get a good open shot in rhythm. And so it'll be interesting. I do think that Texas started playing them a little bit different. They weren't helping out as much. They were getting to the shooters in their faces. So you may be seeing some people have figured out or tried to do some things that they think could stop them and make their big guys have to score. So I thought they defensed them a little different, and that's what happens to you through a season. And I know Coach Byington will maybe change a few things, put a few wrinkles in to hopefully get them back. And it's always good when you're undefeated like they were. It'd be interesting. You got Florida coming to your home court. That's wonderful. Even though Florida's a good team, being in Memorial, as Ronnie knows, is a good place to be when you need a win.
So let me ask this, because seldom do coaches ever admit this. But when you're 16-0, and the truth of it is you're not used to that. That's a rarefied air that Vanderbilt basketball hasn't had since when Kevin Stallings was here, and I want to say the year was 07, 08. Does there become a panic when in the middle of a game it's not working?
Yeah, I think that moment of reality, the reality check in that moment, I think came last night midway through the first half. It looked like the big guy was giving them problems. I thought they made Texas made about 4 questionable shots that went in. And those are the kind of things that can get you a little bit off kilter.
Yeah, I agree with Ronnie. I think that, the game changes when you're not ahead and relaxed and making shots and leading by 10 or 12 points. I don't think there's any panic there. I just think that it's a different ball game, and it's, as I said, it's always great to come home, and hopefully they can come back, beat a good Florida team, and go right back to playing like they were. It's a situation during the middle of the season that you're going to have. You knew you were going to have it, and hopefully they'll respond to it well.
So they get this big challenge, defending national champion coming into town. Who has what advantages in this matchup? Is Florida as good as they were in late March when they made the run? Whoever wants to take it, take it.
I don't think the Florida guards are quite as good as they were last year. Their backcourt last year was about as strong as we saw from anyone for really for a few years. And so I think it was just a combination of factors. Being on the road, you knew Texas was going to be more than ready to play. And I think they just got a point midway through the first half where it didn't seem to be quite the calm that they've played with. Playing with intensity is one thing, but also playing calm and making good decisions is another.
Yeah, and when you get into those rhythms, George, unfortunately, that guy doesn't look as open as he did before when everything's going right. So everything kind of takes on a different level of flowing through the game, and all of a sudden nothing's working, and you got to fight through that. And I think that the road really does that to you. And they knew that Texas had just beaten the socks off Alabama the game before. And so they knew they're playing a good team. And so a lot of things add up to that, but, you can't win them all, or at least you can't unless you're Nebraska. But I think that they'll be fine and get back to work and forget about it and go beat a good Florida team.
I want to get both of your all's reactions to Kentucky's win last night. For about 30 minutes, they were awful. And there's a pressure on those players because there's a pressure applied by that fan base that is like no other in college basketball. The Blue Mist can be great, but when it's not going well, they are hell to live with. I don't know what caused the turnaround, because all of a sudden, with about 8 minutes left, here comes a different Kentucky that maybe didn't seem as burdened, that just said, screw it. Nobody thinks we're going to win this game, and we're going to claw our way back. Here's what I want to know from you guys. What will this win do for them long term to maybe get that fan base off their butt?
Well, go ahead, Ronnie.
A lot depends on what happens in the middle of the next game they play. Who's next up with them? I don't know the schedule that well.
I'll find out. Keep going.
They can also revert back to how they've been pretty quickly if the chips don't fall their way. So I think that they're tiptoeing along right now, and the Boo Birds are not going to be there unless they start showing a trend in the game. Then it could go away in a hurry.
Tennessee Saturday in Knoxville. Ouch.
Not how you want to. No, that's not the best game to get, but go in there and win, it makes a big difference for your team. But yeah, I just think the amount of frustration, tenseness that they play with, they look like it comes across as they don't practice and they don't play together. But I'm sure it's a lot that they want to win. They probably like Mark Pope and want to win for him and thinking about all the wrong things to go out and play basketball, like you need to be relaxed and play basketball. And 11-6, it's going to be a while before the big Blue fans get off of them. I can promise you.
Lee, you've played in that environment. And of course, when it's going great, there's nothing better. than Rupp Arena or when you were there, Old Memorial Coliseum. But I've always thought there is a pressure around that program that no other school has to that level.
Well, I think there is, and I think the fans demanded. I mean, they were wanting to fire people that lost 1 and 2 games back when Tubby was there, and other guys lose a big game and they want to fire you. So it's a tough fan base, but you know that going in, and you always knew that you're going to eat a little better if you went there to play basketball. And of course, that's back in the day before NIL. But I think that that comes with the territory. It's like North Carolina. It's like Duke now. It's like all those programs. They don't want you to come and be a part of a loser. They want you to be a winner, and it's all wonderful and great unless you're losing, and then it's the most miserable thing in the world.
High level NIT is not what they're after.
No.
Okay, we'll go to the break. Kelly Holcomb in the on-deck circle. So is Parker Kelly. With the college basketball insiders, Ron Bargatze and Lee Fowler, all of this group will get it going in just a moment on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. And tell them, are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Friends, Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
It's a Thursday afternoon in January, and it means the college basketball insiders. Coach Ron Bargatze, truly the foremost authority in Nashville basketball. Lee Fowler, former chairman of the NCAA Basketball Men's Selection Committee, 2001, and Kelly Holcomb to lead it off. Kelly, I want to hear good stuff.
Well, I've got a full gamut of questions, and you know how I can ask these crazy questions, and I've got a lot of crazy questions. So I want to start off with this, though, with both of you, especially Lee, because you were at Memphis. Penny Hardaway, y'all talked about him, and it brought me to something. I can remember when Peyton finished playing ball, and everybody said, well, he's going to go to the University of Tennessee, or he's going to go to the Tennessee Titans. And I'm like, why would he do that? He's already a living legend there, and the only thing you can do is to mess your reputation up. And I know you can't be scared of the job. I totally understand that. But, like, it seems like all these situations where guys go back to their alma maters, it never ends good because coaching a lot of times don't end good. We all know that you have to change. So how hard is it for like a Penny Hardaway to go to Memphis and to be successful? I know he's been successful there, but now he's fallen on some tough times. Hopefully he can get it back. But it seems like he was a legend playing basketball there. He's in the College Basketball Hall of Fame, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. It just seems like a tough job when you go back to your alma mater.
Yeah, I actually think he's up for the Naismith Hall of Fame this year. So he's going to be in the National Hall of Fame at some point. It is tough, but it seems like everybody wants to go home. And
right.
Penny moved back there and coached high school, won some state championships, and kind of, you know, he didn't do it, but fans felt like he could do the job and kind of talked him into going back over there and doing the job. Thought he'd be really good at it. And I think Penny is good at it, but unfortunately he can't win every year and not going to win every year any place. And as we all know, we've gone through a bunch of issues here with NIL. And so it's according to how you change with that and whether you're, as Nick Saban says, whether you're paying the right guys and you make some mistakes, it's hard to fix in the middle of the year, but you can fix it after the year's over. So I talked to Penny a couple of times. I've been down there. He's had me to practice. He knows what he's doing. He's been around a lot of great basketball coaches. He had Larry Brown helping him for a couple of years, and it's you know, it's just part of the game. But they are wearing him out on the Memphis. I'm on the Memphis site because I like to see what's going on with them, and then all the crazies are the ones that do most of the talking. But to answer your question, probably couldn't have got a college job somewhere else. But, you know, being there and knowing he lived there and he has plenty of money, plenty of friends, knew a lot of the big companies, the FedEx people and all those folks down there, they felt like he could do as well as anybody and maybe better than most. And it's just tough to go back and rekindle that. I didn't coach Penny, but I was doing radio the 3 years he played, and great young man, great guy. And everybody knows how good a player he was, but he's a good person also, and really tries to do the right thing. So my answer to that is, I think everybody wants to go back. Through my career, I always wanted to come back to Vanderbilt, and never had that opportunity, and for different reasons. But you know, it's just something's in the DNA. You make that decision to go there once. It was your school. You loved the school. You cared about the school, and so getting that opportunity, I think people always will take it, and it doesn't always turn out. Very seldom it turns out great.
Speaking of coaches and the having pressure on them, could anyone have more pressure on them than Stephen Pearl at Auburn?
I was going to bring that up. Go for it, because that was one of my questions. I was like, you look at what they did last year with Bruce Pearl, and now he steps aside and his son comes in. So, Coach B, you go for it, because that was one of my questions, man. Like, if you're Stephen Pearl, they're 0-3 in the SEC right now. How hard of a job does he have?
Almost impossible. I don't think there's only one guy. Bruce Pearl is about as intense as anyone can be, and I don't think anyone can match that kind of what I'd call unabashed enthusiasm on the bench, and really demand so much from everybody around him. And it's not I know Stephen's glad to have that job, and I think we all wish him well. I think he's a good guy. However, he's got to win a lot, and he's got to win a lot in a hurry to not have some real issues from the outside.
And as we all know, football is a big sport down there. They haven't been doing quite as well as they would like to. So that puts additional pressure on the team. You know, Bruce was able to rise above all that and win basketball games. Now they are 1-3. I think they beat Arkansas pants off a couple of games ago. So they won one. And I saw a clip today where Calipari was being interviewed, and they asked him, and he said, well, before we started, did Auburn win tonight? They're a good basketball team. And I forget who beat them, but he was not happy that they had lost after beating him by 14 or 16 the game before. So he didn't think his team showed up. But, yeah, he's going to have to do well and play well quickly at Auburn, or they won't be happy. Now, if you really go back to Auburn's basketball past, it's not what Bruce did there. It's you know, year in and year out, they were up and down. So it's kind of unfair to have the child have to do as well as the parent, but that's what's going to happen, I'm sure.
So this is for both of you guys. First of all, I had to ask a dumb question. Me being from small town Tennessee, I asked the general manager for the Nebraska Cornhuskers we had on here. I was like, "What is a general manager?" I didn't know what that meant in college ball because it used to be and we all know the head coaches are the guy. But like I did ask him what the general manager was. They got player development people. They got all this stuff now that used to be in the pros, but it's now in college. But let me ask y'all this: with all this NIL stuff that's come down the pike, do you think that this is the new normal? Because Nebraska's not known for basketball. We all know that they're not a blue blood. Parker brought it up. They have never won an NCAA tournament, but they're 17-0 right now. Do you think that we're going to start seeing each year teams that nobody really has heard of in that particular sport because of NIL and the money that they've gotten, and they got some new kids in there? Do you think this is going to be the new normal with a team just come out of nowhere?
I think we're beyond anything that resembles normal in the wild, wild west of NIL and expectations, but teams can literally turn their program around overnight with a key big guy or a guy that a great point guard. That's all they needed to really be good. So I think it's a quick turnaround if you can use your NIL money well. I like what Nick Saban said. You got to pay the right players and make sure they're showing up and doing what they need to do.
Yeah, Kelly, I think that a little bit off your subject, but I think you can do it now. Like Ronnie said, you can fix problems, but also I think it's kind of tougher because in the past you always had, 7, 8, 9 guys on the team. Some of them knew they weren't better than the guy in front of them, but they're working, and you had them around for a long time. Now they're not going to stay; they're going to go somewhere else. And I just hate it. I hate it in all sports for high school athletes because
yes,
I mean it's look at Indiana in football. I mean they're average 24 years old. I mean that tells you something. There aren't a lot of freshmen on that team if they're averaging 24 years old. So they're older than a lot of NFL teams. So that's the part that I worry about. That's the part that I think is going to destroy the game 10, 15 years down the road. We're not going to have any ability to teach them and bring them along and make them understand about life and all the things that go with it, and getting up after a loss, picking yourself up and going back and working like crazy to get better. It's just so much different. And I worry about that more than I do anything else.
Okay, so this is my last question here. This is a concern of mine, and this is kind of a sad state that we're in right now, but I don't know if y'all have been paying attention to this, but the gambling issue that they brought up in the Philadelphia court system about the 26 kids getting indicted. And I knew this was going to be a problem. This stuff's been going on forever. I've said it years and years and years, but I don't know if y'all have kept up with that. But with the gambling stuff getting into, it used to be taboo. We're talking about Vegas, and now they've got a team in Vegas for the NFL, and now they had a Super Bowl in Vegas, and it was kind of taboo for them to talk about it. And I've said before that gambling has been part of the game. It's just been kind of a black market deal, and guys, but now you're seeing this stuff with the 26 kids, and they didn't say any names, which I'm glad they didn't say that. But do you see this stuff happening more and more? And is this going to get widespread with this? I mean, this is just kind of the beginning of it, or hopefully we can get this under wraps before it gets too far out in front of us.
Kelly,
Well, I
before
think,
they answer, Coach B, before you answer, let me read the schools that are named in the indictment. Abilene Christian, Alabama State, Buffalo, Coppin State, DePaul, Eastern Michigan, Fordham, Kennesaw State, LaSalle, New Orleans, Nichols State, North Carolina AT&T, the right choice, Northwestern State, Robert Morris, good old Bob, good to have him with us, St. Louis, Southern Miss, and Tulane. So it seems like it's in this list of schools, sort of the second and third tier, not the big boys. Don't know what to make of that.
Is that because they're keeping the big boys under wraps? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm asking.
Or the big boys are getting paid enough they don't need to.
It reminds me a lot of going back to Denny Crum under John Wooden was offered every job that came open for several years. He was the guy. What he said, I'm not going to quote this totally, but you'll get the point. Why did you go to Louisville? He said, well, if you live in a big city on the river, you can get a lot more done than you can without having those.
That's right.
And that included hiding money sources. It included opportunities socially that were hard to talk about on the show like this. But there are a lot of Louisville basketball players that enjoyed the what I'd call the spoils of big city life. And
finer things in life.
So it's not about water currents.
No.
Well, Kelly, I think that you may be able to do it now, but it won't be long. You'll be betting on games that you're watching in the arena. I guess you can do it now on your cell phone. So gambling is so wide open, it's hard to believe. I think the list George read was really interesting. To me, that just reeked of, well, these other guys are making a bunch of money playing, and they talked them into making some money by just affecting ball games, because all those schools played the big boys before we got into conference play. So I'm wondering when this happened, how much of it was affecting scores. I'm sure it was all. And so it when you get money involved, it seeks its own level, and it's kind of amazing that those schools are involved because they are not the major schools, and those guys may not need the money now because they're making money playing.
Well, Lee knows everything about money because I know a couple of people that no one else on the show knows. That's George and Christine Fowler. And Lee learned what it means to follow the money because he didn't have any.
That's right. I didn't have a lot of money, but Vanderbilt education meant a lot to me, and it's helped me out for a long time. But I'm telling you, it worries me, Kelly, because it's so involved now and so legal, and it's not good for the game. But that's just one of the few things that aren't good for the game.
All right.
So I was watching the Tennessee-Texas A&M game the other day, and one of their leading scorers, Rashawn Agee, has been at 4 different schools in 5 years. And for someone who follows this sport, it's so hard to keep track of all the players and where they're going because, again, you have players like this who oftentimes play at 3 or 4 different schools in their career. So I'm going to ask both of you, if you were in charge of college basketball and you were the commissioners of college basketball, how would you go about fixing this transfer madness?
Well, one thing you have to be savvy on are the laws of the land, because restraint of trade or when it goes to the courts, it's a whole different ball game. Vanderbilt's got a guy that's played at 4 schools. Number 21, Miles, played at 4 different schools in 5 years or whatever time it was. But he's been a great contributor and really gives Vandy's backcourt along with Tyler Tanner a chance to be one of the best backcourts in college basketball.
Yeah, I think that Studi, I mentioned it last week on the show. He's been at 2 schools for 6 years. I don't know how you get 6 years of eligibility, but Ronnie's right. The NCAA can make rules, but the courts knock them down. But only way you can fix is limit transfers to one time, and if your coach leaves, you can have another one. And now, is that restricting trade? Maybe. So there's going to have to be laws passed, and then they'll go through the court system, even though it's a law passed. So it's gotten to be, our court systems are running a lot of things, and it's hard to get the NCAA to make any kind of movement at all.
Diego Pavia is a good example of a guy that worked the system and got 2 years in and will be revered as maybe one of the best football players in the history of Vanderbilt.
And we were talking to Nebraska's general manager, Luca Virgilio, and he's talking about, the reason that they're so good right now is because they've been able to keep their core of players together for years. And we're getting a lot of YouTube comments, people wanting us to talk Nebraska basketball, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Do you see this team, who's never won an NCAA tournament game, being able to get to the Final Four this year?
Lee, I don't know enough about them and the individual players. Can they withstand the pressures of being in a position they haven't been in ever, and getting into the NCAA tournament and being able to withstand that kind of pressure? So I'm not familiar enough with their players and their players' background to answer that.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about them, but they're 18-0, and I don't know who they played in the Big Ten yet. I think they've beaten Michigan State maybe, but hadn't played Ohio State and Michigan. I think right, and
beat Illinois on the road as well.
Yeah, so like Vanderbilt, you got to see what they do after they lose the first time. Injuries, as Ronnie knows, to a team like that would be devastating if they lost one piece of that. But I think they're definitely good enough to win one game in the tournament, especially if they go in a high seed. That's going to be real important for them. And that'll be a huge celebration to having won one game in the NCAA tournament and never having won one before. I mean, they hadn't been in that many times. I don't remember Nebraska getting in during my lifetime more than 4 or 5 times.
Lee, here's a good example. We were undefeated at Vanderbilt. I think we're 8 or 9-0 going into the Memphis game, and Memphis had maybe their best team ever, or one of them for sure. And one idiot coach had to run a drill one more time, and Rod Freeman went down with an injury based on that coach's decision to run a drill when you shouldn't have. And I'm talking about myself. But then when he got hurt, and then we had to play without Rod, he was the muscle on our team, and it really changed the whole chemistry we had and what the inside strength we had.
And we're going to pivot to the SEC now. Clearly, the conference as a whole doesn't appear to be as good as it was last year, getting 14 teams into the tournament. This year, I'd say it's safe to say maybe 8 to 10, somewhere within that range. But as a whole college basketball, which conference has impressed you both the most?
I mean, I think the Big 12 with Arizona and those teams in it are really good. They're more loaded at the top, and usually if you're loaded at the top and they're really, really good, that conference is going to get a lot of teams in because there'll be a lot of 500 or a little better than that, and they warrant those top teams, especially if you beat one of them. So beating each other up is not a great thing for the tournament because it kind of lowers the overall conference rating. So I think the Big 12 and Big 10 are both doing really well and have a chance to get the most teams in at this point.
Coach B, let me end it this way, because one intro I end up using the term. I'm trying to think what it is I say. The foremost authority in Nashville basketball. For the last couple of years, you were touting Tyler Tanner when a lot of people were saying, I don't think so. And you've turned out to be right about that one. Give me a couple of players for somebody who's out there that loves going to see great talent in our area. Give me a couple of names of somebody that they need to go see if they're really into that.
Well, you can go to the private schools and see a lot of talent. Ensworth, Brentwood Academy, Franklin Road Academy. There's some really good private school teams and individuals. I remember taking my wife I said, let's go watch CPA and Brentwood Academy play tonight. And that was 2 years ago. And Tyler Tanner, playing against a decent CPA team, had 37 at halftime and ended up with, I think, mid-40s or 50s. But you could just tell how he was head and shoulders above everyone else he had to go against. I understand that I have not been to as many high school games as normal at this time, but I'll pick out the best teams and see them play down the stretch, and I'll be able to answer that question a lot better in about 2 weeks.
Okay, fair enough. Lee, anything you want to leave us with?
Well, I'd let Ronnie talk a little bit about Belmont. I know they're having a great year. They're number one in their league right now, and I'm sure you've seen them play.
Yeah, they've lost two really close 1-point games, but they came from 25 down with about eight or 9 minutes to go in the game and won, which is almost unheard of at Drake. But Casey, as usual, does a phenomenal job coaching his team and keeping the program where it needs to be. I think they've got 15 wins now and are probably going to win 20 games or more again for the gazillionth time in a row. And, you just have to give Casey and that program's history hats off because what they've been able to do. They won some close games, but they've lost 2 1-pointers that they would like to have over again. But they're good, and nobody wants to play them in the tournament.
And yet right now, Lenardi has Murray State, not Belmont. And by the way, Murray State and Belmont play each other here on Saturday night. I think it's January 31st. I think I've got that right. Yeah. So if you're a basketball junkie, kind of write that one down. Lee, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, George.
Coach B, thank you for being with us today.
Yes, sir.
See you all next Thursday.
Okay.
We'll go to the break, and then we'll wrap this baby up on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Green Hills Mall.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
So I'm going to tell all of you a little bit about the Dr. Gill Center, and then Kelly, I have got to bolt about 5 minutes early. I know you won't be with us tomorrow, but look forward to talking on Monday. By the way, let's put you on the spot. Does Miami have a chance? National title game.
No question. I think they have a chance. Absolutely. They can run the ball and they play really good defense, so they have a chance. But if Indiana plays like they've been playing and is not a turnover magnet, and which they haven't done, and they haven't done all year, and they don't make mistakes, I think they win it. But yeah, absolutely, Miami's there for a reason. And I said earlier in the season, up front they're built the right way, and defensively they can play.
Okay, couple of words from the folks at the Dr. Gill Center. Some of you heard Dr. Wendy Toohey on the show earlier this week, and I think you can tell when she talks that she means it and that they are legit about trying to help people with pain. Oftentimes, that's an older group. Part of the reason they're advertising on the show is our audience, because I've gotten older, skews older. So the concern is that a lot of people just throw up their hands and give up and just simply say, this is the way it's always going to be, and I'll never get rid of that pain. Well, I say you need to go see these folks for what we'll call an initial consultation and a report of findings. $49 to get you on a path and give you some hope. Hope's a really strong, powerful thing, and that's a little bit of what the folks at the Dr. Gill Center can give you. Let me give out the phone number. It is 615-882-4838. Again, 615-882-4838. Give them a holler. Get the process started, because I tell you, you won't regret it. Parker?
All right, Kelly, I guess we get to hijack the show for a little bit. So I wanted to bring something up. I wanted to go back to the John Harbaugh conversation that we were having. So now that he's out of the picture for the Titans, I had an interesting conversation with Teron Davenport today, the ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter. And he was saying one of the most ideal candidates for Cam Ward is a guy that we've been talking about, and that's Matt Nagy. Because I'm sure you're familiar with Don Coryell. During his time in San Diego, the Air Coryell offense really taking vertical shots down the field. That's a guy that Matt Nagy has studied and something that can help Cam Ward. Does that make you more interested in Matt Nagy as a candidate for the Titans?
Yeah, it's a tough question. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's been. I think that the plus that you get from him is he was around Patrick Mahomes, and he was there in Patrick Mahomes when he came to the Kansas City Chiefs, and he was there in his growth. And he's been around Andy Reid. He wasn't successful in Chicago. You look at what Chicago's doing now. Now I know it was a different time. I understand that, and it might be a different regime in the front office, but he wasn't able to get it done there. It just scares me when you get guys that have opportunities to be head coaches and then they fall kind of flat on their face, and then they go back to where they came from, and then they kind of resurrect their career a little bit, and then they get going somewhere else. That kind of scares me. It kind of worries me. What did he say? Did he think he obviously said he thought he was a good candidate, and he thinks that he should get the job because of Cam Ward?
Well, he didn't necessarily come out and say that he thinks he should get the job, but, a lot of people are thinking that because him and Mike Borgonzi were together in Kansas City, that it's kind of the buddy-buddy system. But Mike Borgonzi strikes me as a guy that is also going to do his homework on these guys, and the type of offense that, Matt Nagy grew up studying might help Cam Ward. But I'm kind of with you, because that stench that he left in Chicago, I can't get rid of it. And then also, too, him being the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, it wasn't like he was calling plays or anything. That's Andy Reid's offense. So I don't really know. And I think Patrick Mahomes kind of masqueraded a lot of their issues. So I still can't get 100% fully on board with Matt Nagy.
I promise you Patrick Mahomes masked a lot of their issues, because that's what the West Coast offense is. Even when even when it started with Bill Walsh in San Francisco, those guys, I tell the story. When I went from Philadelphia to Minnesota, I didn't even have to get the itinerary, because that stuff hasn't changed. They keep the same itinerary that Bill Walsh started back in the 70s, in the 80s with the San Francisco 49ers and Joe Montana. It's amazing. I didn't even have to look. I knew what time that we had our first meeting, our first walkthrough, when we were supposed to go to lunch, when we had it hadn't changed. Now I'm sure people have messed with it now a little bit, but it hasn't changed. And the times were different back then, and there's been some people that have made it hybrid. They've put their own stuff into it, but some people haven't, and they've kept it the same. And it was always, hey, go make a play. And I'm not saying that they don't worry about this, but in my firsthand experience with it, they don't worry about protection. And I came from Tom Moore, and I came from Bruce Arians, and I came from Coach Donnelly and those guys here, where I had to learn protection. I had to get myself protected. And even when Bob Greasy was in Miami, they just said, hey, go make a play. And Patrick Mahomes is the type of guy that can just go make a play. He can make people miss. Yeah, he can make people miss. He can run around. He can buy himself some time, even if they're not good up front, even if they're bringing more guys. I wasn't that type of quarterback. I don't know. I don't know. It just kind of scares me for that. But, Mike Borgonzi, like you said, I think seeing him in that press conference, I know he had a press conference when he first came here, but seeing him in that press conference that we aired on the show, I feel like he's in charge. You can tell he's in charge. And I don't know if that's happened in a while at the Tennessee Titans. And it just felt that way to me. And I think he will do his homework. I think he's been around good people. I think he's been around people that do know the game of football. Like Andy Reid knows the game of football. There's no question about that. And he knows people. And I think he will do his homework. Even if Matt Nagy is the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans, he would have done his homework on him, and he'll set him down. in his interview, and he'll say, this is what I want, this is what we need, this is what you've got to do. And I am comfortable with that. It just scares me when you get a retread of a head coach that wasn't successful.
Yeah. And Mike Borgonzi, I've sat in several of his press conferences. He's all business. He's all football all day, every day. So
That's
I feel
right.
like if he picks Matt Nagy, even though we may not like it and I may not back it, I feel like Borgonzi kind of earns the benefit of the doubt. But real quickly, let's look at George's record.
How about that?
9-4.
How about that?
It's definitely better
Nice.
than being below 500. Like he was like 20 or 17 or something like that. Games under 500, but he got a win last night with San Diego State. And now he's taken the Florida Atlantic Owls -4.5 versus the Shockers of Wichita State. Good show today, Kelly.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, good for you. And George, I hope you're out there listening. Good luck on the FAU pick. You know I'm not sincere about that, but good luck.
All right, Kelly. I will see you on Monday, sir.
See you, brother. Have a good one.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobitz.